Hmm. Okay, Deboo. Hey girl, I'll be you. Another sorry ass audio presentation. Oh, shit. I noticed I got a view on the what or not. I accidentally watched my own. I don't know how the hell that happened. Sometimes I forget, like if it's been a week later and, whatever, all of a sudden I get like, it's like, what the fuck was all the hype about, It's like, whatever. Yeah, I posted, like 3 20-minute videos. But anyway, I'll try and keep this short and sweet. Like you. I'm going to bed early. It's, what is it? It's like, it's still like gray out. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's almost 8 o'clock, so. I think about you a lot. I think about, holding you, like if we're like camping, and like the rain, falling on the camper or a tent, with like an air mattress, So if we're in the wilderness, have protection, from bears and mountain lions and shit. And like I watch these videos late at night. The ones that say "do not watch alone," I always watch them alone. Late at night. What the fuck? She went camping alone, and what the camera caught was horrifying. And it's like it's ah. And sometimes it's like paranormal shit, and sometimes it's just like wilderness and shit. But there was this girl, and she went camping with this dude. You think they shared a tent? But anyway, there's this, critter, and it's like, okay. Now, I'm not like a hardcore outdoor wilderness dude, but I know shit, right? I just make it up. So it's like, okay, all right, if you're hearing shit, okay, couple things. If it's a large prey animal, it's not going to want to have anything to do with you. So if it's like a deer or an elk or something, it doesn't want to fuck with you. Unless it's a male, deer or an elk, and it's like mating season, then it might do some weird shit and it might make some weird sounds. Because animals like elk, they make weird sounds. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? It's like, oh. And it turns out it's just an elk, doing weird shit. But, like a wild boars, for example, they make these, it's like, whoa, so if you don't expect that, you know what I mean? It's like, shit. You hear something, howling or screeching in the middle of the night, it's 9 times out of 10, it's just natural shit, that's, you just have never heard before. But if it's like, getting closer, that's a predator. That's predator behavior. It's either a bear or a cougar. And a bear is going to be more like do 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 do, as opposed to a cougar, which is going to be like, Vietnam music. You know what I mean? So if it's a cougar, mountain lion, puma, whatever, it's like you want to get the fuck going, because it's going to get close and then it's going to pounce. A bear is going to like more announce its presence. You know what I mean? Like, a cougar? No. It's just going to quietly get as close as it can, and then it's going to fuck your shit up. So, this girl was like, and the guy was like, hey, and they got their lights, and it's like, fuck that. And the girl made a good suggestion. It's like, I'll shine the light, you walk, and then I'll walk, and you walk, and it's like, that's like, an extraction technique, you know what I mean, that works, you know what I mean? It's like we're not turning our backs on it, and we got I mean, there's two people, right? So you don't have to, even if one, it's like shine, 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 change your shit calmly yet quickly. You're being stalked, dude. You are prey at that point, okay? Like I said, that's predator behavior. And it was the middle of fucking night, and it was like just out of view, and it's like, shit. And the guy's like, should I bang off a shot? And I'm like, yes, in the general direction, right? Like in the ground, so it kicks up some dirt and shit. And I'm like, yeah, that would be a real good idea. That way it's not, okay, it's coming at you, you got to fire off, like 4 in a row. Just bang off, those were his words, bang off a shot in that general direction and let that predator know, hey, we got thunderclap on our side here. You're stalking some bipedal, creatures with a flashlight, and you're like, hey, I could go for this. It's a predator, so you need to assert yourself, even though you're not really pulling rank. You can bluff. So yeah, bang off a shot, dude. But anyway, I just wanted to, what have you. And there's, then you need to take into consideration, like, is there other people around, or are you in the plumfuck wilderness, and whatnot. Because as far as, firearms go, it's not so much, when you choose to pop one off is kind of a big deal. So if you pop one off, at like, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's like, oh, or just somebody, target practice or whatever, even if it's just one shot, it's like, oh, okay, whatever. But if it's 10 o'clock at night, it's like, did something bad just happen? It's like, human nature, it's like, these things, but anyway, so, yeah. Sweet, sweet Katie Boo. You should check those videos out. Just type them in, just like, camping, And I do. I watch them at like the middle of the night, 2 a.m., Do not watch alone. And it's like they're sleepy, it's like they're relaxing. Anyway. Teddy Papa Petit had a story about that. He went like camping alone in the wilderness, and he was like, all of a sudden it got real quiet. And there was no rustling of leaves or shit like that. And he's like, that's not normal. And he had that sense, that he was being watched. And he was like, because he was like a special forces dude, and he's like, every time that happened, in Iraq or the Middle East or whatever, it's like there was always, it's like you were being watched. Only it was like supernatural shit. So he's like, I put an extra log on the fire and I stood with my back against the tree and chunk, and just stood there with a shotgun all night. It's like fucking hardcore badass, because he is, he's the real deal. He's a solid dude. He's humble. But, Teddy Papa Petit, I talk shit about him, Lurch, you rang, put a rugby shirt, on Lurch from the Addams Family and a beer in either hand, he's, he's kind of a hardcore dude, you know what I mean? So, but same thing with like Mr. Longhead, you know what I mean? It's like, I talk shit about, technically I'm Sigma, just not a cool one. Same thing with my future bestie Cool Breeze. It's just, nobody, we don't have creds, But, Teddy Puppy Petit, Mr. Longhead, it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of blatantly obvious. And Mr. Longhead, he's like 6'2" or some shit like that, It's like, shit, Kind of won the lottery in that department because most dudes ain't that tall. Same thing with Lurch, he's, but, Teddy Puppy Petit. So anyway, Lurch goes camping. It's easy to talk shit about him, but it's like, no, that's a very capable dude. He stood with his he stood there all fucking night with a shotgun because the forest got quiet, and he's like, this ain't right. You know what I mean? So there you be. But you know, most people like wouldn't recognize that, you know, and that's kind of creepy. That's creepy. And it happened again later, like in a different location. You know, it's like shit. And again, you know, when there was a predator in the area, shit gets quiet. You know, and I know this just from, you know, movies and the Boy Scouts and shit like that. You know, but like, this common sense. Actually, that would be advanced sense. Like, wait a minute. Shit just changed. You know what I mean? And, you know, like I said, that shit, I just made that up. I didn't hear that on a video. You know, it's like, whoa. You know, you're hearing a critter. You know, if it's a raccoon or something, then they're just like scurrying around. They don't give a fuck, you know. But if it's like a larger, you know, like a deer or something, you know, they're like, whoa, what's going on? You know, because they know what's up. Like, shit, who the fuck are you? You know, but if it's like I said, I don't want to repeat myself, but bears, they're kind of like loud and clumsy, for lack of a better word. But a mountain lion, shit, you're dealing with a fucking ninja. You know, you're dealing with, yeah, you better get the hell out of there. So, but anyway, sweet, sweet Katie Boo, I'm thinking about you, baby girl, baby girl. I think about you a lot. I think about you every night. Again, I think about, you know, sleeping with you. You know, like maybe it's a little cold outside, like it's snowing, you know. We're just holding each other. You know, the sound of the rain or the wind, you know. What's your sleeping situation there in Chicago? You know, you sleep with like a fan, or you got some white noise in the background, or what's your deal? Because like I said, if I wasn't a troll, did that sort of shit, this wasn't complete and utter fucking bullshit, I would. That's what I'd do. I'd build up my home time. So I'd have like 4 days. You know, I'd take a cab to St. Louis Airport. You know, rent a car and make the 4-hour pilgrimage up to your place. And, you know, but, I mean, this is all totally, you know, a doable thing, but I'm just a troll. I don't do that shit. And this is complete and utter fucking bullshit. Which is ironic because I think about you every damn night. Meh. Oh well. But I don't know how you feel about that. But you know, and like I said, you know, I'd be your cure. I wouldn't just be a permanent band-aid. I would cure you. And you know, I would accept you into my life, you know, and you'd build me up as well. You know, the drinking would absolutely stop because I couldn't do that. Just like I couldn't do it. It would be stupid. But so it's almost like it's destiny and we're meant for each other and we're perfect for each other. You know, we'd be, you know, mom and dad. You know, I'd bring out the best, you know, I'd teach you how to be like the best mom that you could be, because you might need a little bit of help. You know, you might be like stressed out. You know, and like I said, I've given this example before, like, oh, the baby won't stop crying. Why is that? Well, that is something to consider. Why won't the baby stop crying? But you want to know how to make the baby stop crying? Wrap it in a warm blanket. You know, and shit that I've said, so. And now I have to say this. You know, when I was a baby, I didn't cry. Then my parents were concerned about it because they were like, babies cry. I got beamed in the head with a volleyball at a, you know, family function, and I just got up and kept on a boogieing, when normally that would be like a power cry, you know, where I cried myself to the point of exhaustion, you know, and just whatever. But, and I remember one time, I don't know why this is a thing, but I got I was like, I don't know, 5, 6 years old, and I was playing in the sandbox, and I got calluses on my hand, and I walked inside. I said, Mommy, I got sand under my skin. And she's like, those are calluses. How does a little baby get calluses on their hands? So I'm just, those are two things that I remember. Oh, and the falling asleep behind the door. Fell out of my damn crib. You know, so I'm like that age, right? Shit. How did I not like kill myself? How did I not break my neck? And I crawled to the door because most likely I saw the light underneath the door. Crawled over there and fell asleep behind the door. I think that's adorable. I'm sorry if I do pat myself on my little adorable baby back. Because my parents, like, you know, went to check on me, and they were like, this motherfucker's asleep behind the door, you know. And it's like, so I don't know. I think it's cute. So anyway, those are my 3 baby stories that I hold, that I'm like proud of, for lack of a better word. I didn't cry. I developed calluses from playing in the sandbox, and I escaped my crib and fell asleep behind the door. But anyway, yeah, I'm thinking about you, baby girl. Your warmth, your softness. Like I said, I had mentioned it in that other video, some suck ass, you know, you and Fatty McFatfuck. Take good care of her. She deserves it right now. Oh, yes, you do. Shit. It's just such a shame. Just such a shame. I'm just a troll. I don't do this shit and complete another fucking bullshit. Oh. I take Prozac. I suffer from anxiety and depression. Ah, you're just being stupid and shit. Oh, come here. Bring it in. Come here.